In today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discovering .NET Aspire, the GA release. So last week during Microsoft Build, .NET has released the general availability of .NET Aspire, which means it's now ready for production utilization. In this video, we're going to be going through how we can actually install it with the GA release and how we can actually create a sample application and take a look at some of the functionality that Aspire GA release provides. So let's get started. So first of all, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing some of the toolings. And in order for us to do that, what we need to do is we need to install some workload which Aspire relies on. So first of all, we're going to put .NET workload update, and this will update all of the .NET workload that we currently have. And if we take a look, we can see that we have .NET Aspire installed and we have version 8.0.1. We don't have the preview anymore, although we have some of them with the preview installation, but basically we have the new Aspire version 8.0.1, which is going to be the GA release. Okay, great. So once we have done that, the next step is we need to reinstall it to make sure that we're getting the latest version. So we're going to put .NET. Actually, let's clear this up. And now what we need to do is we need to install the Aspire workload again, just to make sure that we have the latest version. So we're going to put .NET workload install Aspire. It's gonna say it's already installed on my side because I misspelled workload. You can see it's already installed, but if we take a look at everything here which is currently being utilized, we can see we're relying on version 8.0.1, 8.0.1, etc., which is gonna be the GA release that we want. Okay, great. So now that we have done that, I'm gonna clear this up, and just to now we can see all of the different workloads. I'm gonna put .NET workload list, and now we can see here that the Aspire workload that we want is gonna be version 8.0.1, and it's relying on the version 8.0.100 that the .NET SDK provided. Okay, great. So now that we have done this, now we're going to be seeing all of the different templates that the .NET SDK will provide us whenever we want to create an Aspire application, because this is going to be one of the new things that we can actually utilize out of the box. So we're going to put .NET new list Aspire, and if we make this a bit bigger, we'll be able to see here that we have 5 new projects. So we have the app host for .NET Aspire, we have Aspire, we have the service default, we have the starter, and we have the unit tests. And basically with all of this, let's make this a bit bigger. With all of this, we can basically have a starter template, which is we're going to be utilizing in order for us to create our demo application. But basically with all of this, we can see how we can have different components that we can actually utilize in order for them to be injected inside our current application that we're building. So we don't really have to start from scratch. We can just basically pick and choose the services Aspire provide and actually utilize them. So now what I want to do is basically I want to create my starter template. So I'm going to put .NET new Aspire dash starter. I'm gonna give it a name of sample app, and let's run it, and we can see it's running. And now once we have done that, I'm gonna open it in Visual Studio Code, and as we can see here, once I have created in Visual Studio Code, what we have here is we have 4 different projects. We have the API service, which is automatically created for us. We have the app host, we're gonna be explaining what it is. We have the service defaults, and we have our web application. So basically the way Aspire works, let's open draw.io so we can actually visualize it. And basically within Aspire, we're gonna have 4 different projects, and these projects basically they're going to be comprised of the API, of the app host, service defaults, and the web. So how do these work? So basically what we have here is we're going to be having the structure similar to this. So any application that we're going to be creating, so this is going to be our API, which is going to be responsible out, as we say, as the brain of the application. So our API here will have, for example, some kind of a database, and we can query it to get all of the information. So app host will be connected to the API as well. The web here is going to be the front end. So it could be this React application, Blazor application, Angular. So this is what's going to be consuming the API and get the information out. So this way, app host will also be kind of connected to the web API. So before we do this, before Aspire, how did it work? So before that, the client interface, so it could be Blazor or React or anything, it used to make requests to the API directly, and through the API then process the request and return back the response. So it was heavily interconnected between them. The web application, which is here could be as well React or Blazor, needed to know exactly the URL or as well, or the domain or the IP address of the API in order for it to communicate. So there was a lot of tight coupling between these two. But with Aspire, it doesn't work like this. So with Aspire, what happens is we're gonna have our app host connected to our web API. We're gonna have our app host connected to our web application. And basically, in order for them to be created, what app host does is basically we declare the API inside app host, and we declare the web app inside app host. And within app host, what we do is we set dependencies with each other. We set the dependencies of all of those different components, in this case the API and the web inside app host. And once we set those dependencies, app host will be basically responsible for providing the domain addresses for the web application as well for any extra configuration from cores to the web API, to the web application, so the web application will be able to communicate with the web API very easily. So we're removing this direct intercommunication that the web application needs to know about in order for it to communicate with the API, and we're delegating all of this to the app host. So this is the main role of app host, is basically connecting all of these different services. A service default is basically all of the default implementation that we want. So we want logging, we want the traceability, we want to have additional monitoring services, etc., etc. So all of this can within service defaults. So service default directly connect to app host. So now this is the main structure of our application. So we have the interfaces, which is basically, we have the services, and these services are going to be basically the API that we create, the web application that we have. It could be even additional, the database that our API relies on, but usually instead of, so this could be a database, and the database, instead of actually connecting directly to the web API and configure it from there, this is the old implementation. With the new implementation with Aspire, basically the app host now is going to be responsible for the database, and basically then what happens is the app host will provide the connection string to the web API rather than the web API having to know about the connection of the database. So that's one scenario. Another scenario, let's say we need Redis. So again, if we need Redis here, which is caching, again, my application doesn't really have to know anything about how the Redis cache connection string will work. What's going to happen here is app host will know all of the information that's needed about Redis, and then it will provide this information to my web API. So we can see here app host is playing the role of a service discovery. Basically, it will provide all of the different services endpoint, and it will provide it to the subsequent services that it needs them. And this is a very smart way to remove interdependencies between those applications. So now in this current example starter template that we only have these four. We have the API, we have the web application, we have app host, and we have service defaults. And because these four, let's remove these to avoid confusion. And because these four are basically baked into the template, we can directly see through the template how everything works together. So now that we understand the theory behind app host, service default, web, and API, let's go back to our source code and see what exists here. So we can see here that the first project we have is the API service, and the API service here is basically a very simple minimal API which provides the weather that's needed. And it's, as you can see here, is pretty straightforward. Doesn't have really anything except one single endpoint, which is returning the different weather, random weather information. The second one that I want to take a look at is going to be the web application. The web application here, it's a pretty simple Blazor application, and we can see within this Blazor application we have the main page, we have the weather application. We're going to be running this up and we're going to be seeing how it works. But just before we do that, let's jump into the code, and we're jumping into the code so we can see the different components, and we can see it's a pretty straightforward implementation of a Blazor application. Now what we're going to be seeing here, we're going to be seeing two other services. We have the app host and we have the service default. So now if we open the app host, and this is going to be where every single connection is going to happen. Let me close this up. So we can see here that the way we actually build this is we're building a distributed application, and by the name distributed application here, basically we're telling it that it is going to play some kind of a service discovery, because we have different components which is running around and we need to actually combine them. And then basically what we're doing is we're adding the main project, which is the API, and basically now we have a reference to that API service, and then we're adding the second one, which is going to be the front end, which is sample web, and this is going to be the key item here with reference to API service, which means that when we add with this keyword with reference, means that these two projects are now interconnected. So what Aspire is doing in the background is it's actually linking these two applications together, and it's actually providing the URL for the web application to be able to communicate with the web API. And all of this is happening within this few lines of code that we currently have here. So now that we have seen how the app host work, now let's go to service defaults. Inside service default, we have the different extensions that is available for us. And if we take a look down here, we can see that we have the health checks available. We have service discovery, which is going to be responsible for providing the endpoint. We have different HTTP client implementation. We have even OpenTelemetry integration, and all of those available for us directly through the extension. We have even the OpenTelemetry exporter, etc., etc. All of this is happening through the extension, and basically the extension is directly going to be feeding to the app host. So again, this is how everything here works, and this is how everything is interconnected, and this is going to be the main structure. So now, after we have understood everything around the main concepts of Aspire, now let us run it. So in order to run it, we should not run the API service by itself and then run the web by itself. It will not work this way. What we need to do is we need to run the main component within Aspire, and this is going to be app host. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be navigating to app host, and then I'm going to put simply.not run. Simple as that. So now my application is building, and we can see right now Aspire is running on version 8.0.1, sorry. And what we have here is basically we're going to have the capability to log in through this. So I'm just gonna copy this, and here as we can see we have something called /login, and then we have the T, and T here basically is my own secure key in order for me to log in to the Aspire dashboard. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna open my web browser and I'm gonna run my application, and now as you can see here, as soon as I run this, what I have is I have my web API service running, I have my front end running, I have here my API backend endpoint and my front end endpoint. And the reason I see here too is because I have one for HTTP, one for HTTPS. Similar to the front end, I have here, if I click on this, I'm able to see that I have my front end running. If I click on weather, now my data is going to be coming out from the API endpoint. So now if I run my API endpoint, we're going to be seeing random JSON information about the weather being populated. And if I refresh here, we're going to be seeing all of this information being updated based on that. Now let's take a very quick look on the dashboard itself. I'm able to see the logs of my application running through here. I can switch to the front end and see the logs coming from that one as well. I can go back here. I can see detailed view implementation of my services. So here, as you can see, I have the name of my service. You can see the status of it, what time did it start, where does it exist on my machine. I have the process ID, and then I have the different implementation endpoints. So I have, for example, what is my HTTP endpoint, my HTTPS, etc. Any environment variable that I have, I can see them from here. Let's say I can click on this one, for example, and we can see my environment variable is in development, and I can see all of those different configuration for my OpenTelemetry here as well. So now if I go back to the console, I'm able to see more information similar to what we have seen before. Now here we can see the structured log, and all of this is basically being combined together from the two applications. So I can choose either I want to see the API service or the front end service. If I click on the API one, I can see, for example, the specific one, and we can see here this request will give me the different information, etc., etc. If I click on traces, we can see all of the different requests that's gonna happen. So here when I requested, for example, when I requested the weather, I can see here how the front end called the API backend, and then basically how it actually populated back, and everything happened within 278 milliseconds. Of course, this can be optimized, but this will give you a bit of an overview about how everything worked together. If I go back to traces, I can click again on view here, and I can see the logs directly through the specific request that I'm actually logged, because it actually have interpolated traced ID, and this basically traced ID will allow me to trace all of those different requests simultaneously. And lastly, I have here the metrics, and within the metrics, I can select whatever metrics I want to see from my application, and then through that I can see a graph, or I can see it in a table format in order for me to understand better, and basically I will be able to export this as well. I can have different time frames to understand the different implementation of my application through different timelines. On the right hand side here, what I have is I also have some settings, which is just basically about the UI stuff, and I have here the .NET Aspire repo if I want to go in and explore it. So this is a very simple introduction about Aspire and how it works. So the reason I made this video, because I got a lot of question about Aspire and basically what is its utilization and how we can actually benefit from it. So I hope this video cleared things up and give you a quick understanding about the foundation of Aspire. I'm planning to make a lot of videos in the future that we're going to be covering around Aspire, around basically how we can deploy it, how we can add different services to it, and we're going to be creating one from scratch together so we can see the different ways we can take Aspire to the future. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please make sure you put them in the comments down below. If you'd like to support me, please consider supporting me on Patreon or buying me a coffee. With that said, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.